What is reality? That question, which everybody thinks they know the answer to, but nobody really has given it much thought. Yet it is one of the most significant questions that figuring out the answer to can, in a snap of a finger, change our quality of life, our experience, our fulfillment. And it has done all of those for me personally in order for me to be able to consciously now create a life where my dreams are coming true one by one, day by day. And this, therefore, is my journal to myself in audio and video form, where I share what I have found and how profoundly these findings have affected my life. As my responsibility towards the next generation is to only share what I have found, hoping that it serves another soul as it has mine. So reality, as I used to think of it and feel it, was one absolute in which whatever I knew of was the only possible way of being. Of course, this is when I was growing up into my 20s, early 20s. As you go through college and university and realize that there are other experiences and perspectives, we start becoming more tolerant. However, that is where it ends. We feel that we are tolerating one another, yet my reality is still the one that is more true or more correct or right than your reality, which is why wars have been going on for thousands of years in the name of religion, for example, which is one of the most fundamental forms of beliefs and creations, as we are going to discuss, that form our perceptive, projected realities. So, one of the most pressing matters in my life that pushed me to create a more researched understanding of reality was the fact that the experiences of my life had led me to get into depression, which depression by default is not living up to the expectations that we feel we are worthy of or we should be, and feeling like what we are living in is way worse than what we should be experiencing, and feeling also at the same time powerless to do much about it. So always taking refuge to some form of self-harm, whether that is psychologically harming ourselves, mentally, emotionally, physically sometimes, in some extremer case, more extreme, more extreme cases. But to understand why the experiences that I was having were not what I wanted to experience, and why even do we experience things, and how has my life gotten me to the point where I feel the way I was feeling. So this led to this whole research heavy into psychology of the human species, or whatever little we know of it, by the way. And studying psychology, one of the things that quickly came to mind and actually was a point of big elephant in the room is the subject of reality. Because the very conversation about psychology is meaningless if we don't first understand what is reality. And psychology still really overgeneralizing and grouping a whole bunch of behaviors into categories by labeling them and just obviously laying out attributes that come from having those behaviors as symptoms without really going deep in through at least my personal journey of speaking with psychologists during my times of battling with depression, of telling me how to fix that bridge, that definition, that without first describing to me, not one psychologist ever told me what reality is. Not one psychologist ever told me that maybe you're depressed because you don't understand reality because nobody taught you. Those were the questions that I had to deal with. Those were the situation that I was in, which I know billions of people are grappling with those same emotions. Those are just statistics of WHO, or we'll take it for whatever it's worth. About 75%, 60 to 75% of the population will experience one form of depression before their 50s or in their lifetime, whatever it is. Reality, therefore, is not, as studied, just one form, which, by the way, has been perpetuated into our understanding deeply and culture through the work of religion intentionally to only present one paradigm of possible reality and actually stigmatizing any opposition as non-believers who will go to hell, and teaching us that only our version of truth is the absolute truth and there is no other way to it. Well, let's just talk about why humanity feels depressed and sad most of the time while living at one of the most conveniently most accommodating times in humanity's history. We are all walking around with cell phones, at least in billions on this planet, in cars, in flying airplanes, going to Marses and moons, and everything else that we take for granted, such as medical advancements, internet, concepts such as quantum physics, and so many things that are just so available to us. These all come to us at a time where we are most connected than ever before through the internet, yet we are most isolated. And that is an intentional work of thousands of years, which has created this huge question, which this entire journal was about, which I had to put forth as the introduction to next few journal entries, where I explain that coming to this mere understanding that the reality, as even psychologically and scientifically, is not even one form. In every human, there are three different realities that are coexisting at the same time, not one. There is the projected reality, there's the perceptive reality, and then there is a total reality. So these are all coexisting, and it's not just one reality. It's the life that I experience, and I'm such a victim and everything is happening. No. By default, the moment we understand, and I did, that there was three, I was like, wait, what, how can I even know what these are, or let alone be able to utilize them to experience what I need? And therefore, my big aha moment that I don't understand it, therefore the need to research, because I was never taught how to work with reality. And that is the wrap up of this episode, which would lead us into the next. That is the conversation, the beautiful conversation on what the three simultaneous versions of reality are, and how understanding each one at a deep level, which is, by the way, very basic and simple, very intuitive, all within us. And that's why anything that I utter here will sound familiar, although it's something that we may not have even possibly heard before. I look forward to sharing the next one. Super excited about this subject, as it brings almost everything I've already spoken about kind of slowly together to create a bigger picture of our amazing, infinite possibilities to experience what we dream of, and possibly making the breakthrough that what we dream of is not even the possibilities. From the beautiful Kushadasi, Turkey, farm of my friend, my dear friend. Wishing you a blissful day.
Yes.